a lot of interest in the goal, cunt.
I want attacking purposeful football all the time. And providing you had it picked up in that quarter, we had a real chance of winning it in that quarter. Now we've got our backs against the wall and we've got to fight.
It's great, and your fans will love it.
You might have noticed some changes to this episode, guys. Have you heard some ads at the start, and there might be some ads at the end? Look, if you read on Facebook, you would have seen that we're looking at different hosting, and we've come up with one host that does put some ads in there. We hope you don't mind that too much. Look, the thing of it is, it's not going to send us, make us rich or anything like that.
No.
It's
far from it.
Far from it, yeah. But it does mean that we can expose the podcast to a wider audience, and at the same time, it's the hosting's now free for us, whereas before it's costing $30 to $40 a month for us, and now it's a free host.
And now we can expose ourselves to a whole new bunch of people.
And the thing is, we don't make anything out of it. It's mainly just cover hosting costs, so we can adjust where the ads go. So if you let us know where it's least annoying, and we can change the length of it. We have a minimum length we're going to do, which we're going to take up because we make fuck all out of it anyway. So tell us where's the least annoying places to put them in.
And obviously, the whole goal of this thing is just to have a bit of fun and hopefully get to toss the coin at the AFL match at some stage. And, maybe one day we get a media pass and we can talk bullshit to actual real people who are playing sport.
And then you're all fucked.
And I don't see it as selling out our morals, because the point is...
We don't have morals.
We don't have any.
And we're planning to sell out all along anyway.
And we're exactly right.
If I heard they were valuable, I would have got some.
Hopefully it's not too annoying, but, let us know anyway if it is, and we'll ignore it. Yeah. But anyway, on to round 10, which is the last of the 9-game rounds for a few weeks.
So mid-year report time.
It feels weird when there's only when there's less than 9 games around.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, I feel like, as someone who doesn't have Foxtel, that it's kind of standard. Just because Channel 7 only show a couple of games around, and the rest of you kind of have to figure out what happened.
I wonder what the free-to-air is going to be next week then, because I haven't checked it yet, to see which games are free-to-air and if they get less during the... I assume it is.
Do you remember back when Hey Hey It's Saturday was on, they had, I think it was Andrew Fife, the cartoonist?
Yep.
I figure he's not doing much now. I reckon if they got him on, just had him wired into SEN or something, and he's just drawing on a whiteboard cartoons what happened, I'd probably watch that.
Yeah, it'd probably go all right, actually. Maybe he can periscope it.
Maybe he can.
Yeah.
It'd be like live animation.
Well, it's just about what he was, wasn't it? Yeah. Round 10, I think, has distinguished itself from the other rounds by actually having a Friday night game that was watchable.
Yeah.
It's been a while since that's happened.
The twofold to that was there was a Tigers game was watchable.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often. So, we'll go... we'll go into that game then.
Yep.
Fremantle and Richmond.
I did see Freo were about $1.05 at the start of the match, and Richmond were paying $4 something. And if you backed Richmond, you were an eternal optimist, or you have too much fucking
hate money.
So you're telling me Freo backed Richmond and threw the game?
Yep.
Yes.
All the way through it.
Unequivocally, I totally have proof of that too.
And I tell you, it's simple things, isn't it? Kicking straight wins your games. And what did Richmond kick? 8 goals straight, or 8 gols won in the first quarter?
Something like that. Something crazy. Sorry, I broke it down. I figured exactly what's happened.
All right, here we go.
I figured they've got... I think it was only like a one-off chance they had to beat Freo with this strategy. It was just with the running players they've got. It seemed like they'd be rotating the 3 on ball with 1 in the back lines, 1 in the cross half back, and the rest sort of around the ball, wings or full forward. And they just run through from the back line. You have Kocher coming through, and that would sort of negate a lot of the advantage tapping from Sandilands because there's someone immediately there to stop pressure the ball. And as they're running forward, as soon as the ball gets into the forward lines, they've got all their small running around players there to just put the forward pressure on. And especially with Steve Morris, who was a full forward for a little bit, as soon as there was a turnover, the pressure was always there. Yeah. So it made him have to take the first decision, and that makes mistakes.
Actually, I did notice that too, is that they rove Sandilands brilliantly.
Yeah.
He had, I think it was 23 hit-outs to advantage.
Which is a record.
Yeah. But every time the Freo midfield got the ball, not more than a step away was the Richmond midfield putting pressure, putting a tackle, hassling the ball carrier.
Which meant that when they got to go forward, like the next kick out of the midfield was always a rush kick under pressure or a blind kick.
And a high kick more often than not too, which gives you a defender's time to get
Or like
underneath
out on the full, they had lots of out on the full as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was just an opportunistic game plan that was, potentially going to work and did to great effect. You won't beat Freo with it consistently because it's very easy to sort of remedy. But I think it was just smart tactical play. I think Freo didn't really probably take it as serious as they would have another team as well.
So you reckon this was just Freo were due for a down day?
I think they just caught them off guard.
It sounds a bit weird when they say, you're due for a loss, but it is true. It's maybe they're just rolling through the motions a little bit the last few weeks, and it's shown, I think, with the games that sort of get out to a lead and then, that'll do.
Yeah, but I think when you have games like that, you have a strategy which you're completely behind, works, and you'll stop being sort of looking for the critical points in your strategy, the holes in it, and how it's not going to work. Like, how are you going to beat your own strategy sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Tigers played it to a T for that match.
Well, I don't think it's a case of being due. I don't think you can say you got lucky when you kick 8 goals, 1 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's a champion effort from any team. If
Exactly.
no matter which team you are, if you kick 8-1 in the first quarter, you're probably going to win.
It's a good way to start. And the thing is, when you go up against a team like Freo, and you've got that ferocious pressure in the first quarter, you've got to keep it on.
Yeah.
You can't just go, we've kicked 8, we're laughing here. And they were able to do it. Tell me, do you think that the tactic of wearing the WA state Guernsey was one that worked for the Tigers?
I think it did.
I think it might. I think they might
Threw
actually
them
have
off.
a bit of home crowd advantage from it or something. I don't know.
They've done it right. And Dustin Martin was probably best of field. And
I'd say he's best of field by daylight.
I think
He was brilliant.
It'll be the first time this year that somebody from an opposition team has taken full marks off Fife.
Yeah, I mean, he just looked like he was just too strong up top. It seemed like he would break all the tackles. He looked kind of scary. You also remember there's one sort of pack, and you see Martin come rushing in one side, and then you see Fife go flying out the other side. And I mean, just look at Martin's haircut. It looks like his hair's scared of him. Just sort of hides at the back of his head, hoping no one notices it.
It looked like Dellavedova on Curry. Like, just,
Yeah.
you got a champion player, and everyone expects him to walk all over him, and just the gritty asshole manages to show him up on the day.
Well, I mean, Fife still had a good claim for... Well, he had Mark of the Week.
Yeah.
And goal of the week that could go even further.
Yep.
Which was a funny old goal. Worked hard and goes to the check side from the boundary. But you see Ballantyne sitting in the goal square all by himself.
Yeah.
Well, ignore the cunt too, I would.
But the thing is, with those sorts of goals, I think with the players who are really talented like that, the easiest way I could try and visualise how you do it is playing basketball. You know, when you practice your jump shot and you've got a good jump shot, when someone passes to you and you have time to shoot it, generally you miss because you overthink it. But if someone passes to you and you kind of just tips the end of your fingers and you've got to chase it a bit and shoot it off balance.
It's part of that motion.
Yeah.
It's that pure muscle memory as
that's
opposed to, okay, now I'm going to hit it on this side of the boot and it's going to go...
And it's like Dave's imperfections make it more sort of cerebral process as opposed to thinking about what you're doing.
More muscle memory. I think, though, too, when you're doing those sort of snaps, especially when there's no other option, in this case there was, but still...
That's not a real option, though.
The pressure's kind
If
of
you're
off.
Fife, you're the best option.
Yeah, it's like, you're 80 metres out, siren's gone, you've got nothing to lose, so the pressure's off kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the pressure was still on with the shot on goal, though. Because, I mean, if he misses that, you go, mate, what are you doing? There's a fucking guy right there. You're having shots from the boundary line.
Yeah, but it's only Ballantyne. They'd be like, yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, but it's 80 metres out. You go, all right, Malcolm Blight, do what you think you can do.
So I couldn't see. The lights were shining off you.
Mate, don't even talk about bad decision-making in the forward 50. I'll go for North Melbourne.
So, it's the third week in a row the Tigers have ruined a milestone. They fucked up Kane Corns' 300th.
Yeah, I know.
Ruined Fletcher's 400th. Michael Johnson's 200th. And all three of those players, after they've ruined their milestone, don't play the next week. They're just absolute assassins.
Fucking, I'd be scared to have a birthday if I was the opposition. Jesus, it's going to come shit on your parade.
I tell you what, if next week they run out and it's Razor Ray's 300th or something, he'd want to look out.
The Tigers have cancelled Christmas too.
But look, for Freo, it's just, is it the loss they had to have?
Oh, look, they're not going to change anything.
I think it's the loss they don't give a fuck about, to be honest.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They lost at home, but so what? I can't see anyone worrying about it.
I reckon they got outplayed by a team who's not going to outplay them again this year. It's not really going to concern them.
It's also a bit of a good luck charm to lose to the Tigers during the season because you quite often go on to win the premiership.
So, yeah, I was going to say, the only people that don't is Arsenal, the unluckiest motherfuckers in the AFL.
Well, that's the thing, though. Tigers sitting 8th, and they played bloody well this week. I reckon they're a pretty good chance to go pretty deep in September, like actually win a final.
Yeah, don't know about October, though. Probably still fucked for that month.
Yeah, let's not think about October. Get a win in September.
Got holidays booked, sorry about it.
But yeah, Freo's still a game clear and percentage on top, so they're laughing there.
Yeah.
On to the Saturday games. We had Carlton versus Adelaide. And obviously, all the talk was about Juddy.
The penthouse to the doghouse. They went from 4 goals up in the first quarter, looking like $1 million, to oh fuck, we're screwed.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch this game live, so I was actually out camping. Just a bit random, wasn't it?
But look, all the talk was about Judd, and you could see it in his eyes. As he knew immediately what had happened, and that was, he announced it today that he's pulled the pin on his career. That I think it's only a matter of time before he becomes Hall of Fame, and probably further than that.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that even on a small small crowd like that, all the Crows supporters were up, standing, and I think everybody knew straight away, just as he did.
I think it's pretty poor though that he's still got a couple of years on his Visi contracts. So he has to go down and pack boxes for the next 2 years.
Poor bastard.
Poor bastard.
With that, he still took the mark. Like, he took the mark, held it, nuked his knee, fell to ground, and was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fucked. I'm done."
Dangerfield was still standing the mark too, and I wonder if there wasn't a part of him that just went, "Oh, is it too early to swap Guernseys?" but somewhere Cam Guthrie's gone, "Oh, fucking blinder here."
You're gonna say this is the perfect chance for a selfie. Chris Judd, last game, last possession. Here I was.
I'll tell you what though, whoever took that photo of his knee mid snap, I don't know how many times it's been redone, but
hopefully none, because that's fucking no one wants to do that shit. It's like watching a nut shot.
Yeah.
The photos everywhere though. I have no idea who took it, but I dare say they don't need to take another photo for the rest of the year. They could be living off that.
You can get a laugh at a nut shot in time. You don't get laughs out of knees.
No.
But the good signs for Carlton was when Juddy went down, Mark Murphy really stood up and played a bit of a blinder. They've corrected some of their kicking woes. Casbolt still kicked a couple of out of bounds on the full.
Well, you got to expect that.
But he kicked a few straight as well, which is a good change for him. Eddie Betts does what Eddie Betts does. He was well blanketed, I thought, for a lot of the game.
Which isn't as easy as you might think. To say, I held a forward pocket or a forward flanker, most times, you'd say, big deal. But when it's Eddie Betts, in the form that he's been in, it takes a hell of a lot of effort to keep him low on the stat sheet. Yeah,
he does. Absolutely. Just having a look through it now. Where is he? Click on
Eddie Betts, 17th. He had 3 kicks, 5
just
handballs, and just with the one straight. Which, look, if you're playing on him, that's a great day for you.
Absolutely. Especially since the form he's been in lately. He's been absolutely killing it, and keeping just down to the one goal. I'm not sure if he had even any other shots on goal.
I don't remember it.
No, I don't know. I was watching most of this game live.
I remember Jenkins was on fire.
Did they chuck Kerner on Dangerfield?
Well, kind of loosely. He was floating through.
I was going to say he's picked up 31 posies. It's pretty good for someone who's had a really good tagging role in the last few weeks.
He's done it well, actually. I think in the round 1 against the Tigers we were watching, and was it Simpson he was abusing Kerno.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's someone who's found his role. Which it is a good sign. There was also one moment there where I think it was Andrew Walker on the Crows goal line, and everyone stopped and they thought it had gone over.
Yep.
But the goal umpire is right there and he hasn't called it, which means that ball's still in play. And what Dangerfield did was really clever, because he didn't rush in and tackle him.
Yep.
He just sort of jogged up, and as soon as he got close enough, grabbed him and dragged him back in. And I thought that was brilliant, and it should have been a free kick.
That's a veteran move, that one.
Isn't it? It's just so clever that he knew exactly what to do at the right time, but it's a shame he didn't get rewarded for it.
Well, I think that says a lot about your awareness of what's going on and your ability to sort of process all the information at once and make decisions that are sort of clever,
To be a thinking footballer,
you don't teach that stuff.
No, otherwise Casbolt would probably play a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think it's the second week in a row that Carlton has shown something. I mean, they didn't get over the line, but at the end of the day, they've shown that they're trying to play.
They show that they really didn't like Mick Malthouse.
I think they showed they're rebuilding whether they like it or not now, definitely.
Well, they found out what their problem was. Their problem was an All-Australian coach and an All-Australian player.
Yeah.
Got rid of those two.
I think they're trying to use like the Cavaliers strategy with LeBron, with Judd. Just give it to him, let him do everything, and we'll see how far we go.
Look, Crows got away with one. They tried their best to throw it away at the end, but they did enough to get away with the win. Which leads us on to the bottom of the table, Gold Coast Suns versus Sydney Swans. Look, I don't know how much you can really talk about this game. Franklin kicked some nice goals and looked like he was in for a day out.
Yep.
But Sydney got out to a big lead and then just put the cue in the rack.
I'll tell you what, the big thing not talked about this was Adam Goods, which makes a nice fucking change.
He's still got a few boos around there, but...
he's going to get booed for the rest of his days.
Yeah. No matter what the reason was, as soon as you start complaining about getting boos, that's one sure way to make sure that they continue.
Absolutely.
But, if he wants to play the heel now, play it up, gets the crowd involved.
Exactly.
Plenty of players have had great careers out of being hated.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a funny moment where
He'd be the tallest.
Luke Parker's kicked his goal and he's gone to give someone a high five.
Yeah.
And they left him hanging. Well, which is fair enough because there's the bloke he just kicked it on. Tried to high five the Gold Coast Suns.
I'll tell you what, how good was Hanbury again?
Yeah, he's gone from strength to strength.
He blew me away this year. I thought he was a quality midfielder, but he's elite level for sure.
Absolutely.
He will poll very, very highly in the Brownlow.
I think his only problem is Luke Parker's been polling very well as well. So they're going to share a lot of votes, those two. But Hanbury, I thought he was robbed of the Norm Smith the
Norwich.
No, he
South got robbed.
He got robbed. Yeah,
yeah.
The Norm Smith medal in 2012. Anyway, he had an absolute blinder, run around all by himself, it looked like half the time.
Again, we say it a lot, but Sydney Swans are they're sneaking under the radar.
Just doing what needs to be done and nothing more.
And yet, their midfield, as good as any midfield out there, their forward line is probably the best forward line going around at the moment in terms of raw talent.
They're on drugs.
Well, that's
You heard it first, all right?
You didn't say performance enhancing.
No, just whatever
drugs.
they are. I don't know.
They're playing the Gold Coast Suns, so if they are, they've probably got a good deal out of the match.
People trust who are at casinos. It's always people that try and lay under the radar. Don't want nothing, just be thereabouts. We're doing good, not losing, but they're always ones that are cheating.
Speaking about their big forward line, during the week there was a lot of talk about Kurt Tippett. Maybe they should use him as trade bait or something like that because he hasn't returned on the big dollars, but kicked a lazy 3. Which it's all you can ask really. He only got 4 kicks and 3 of them were goals. So.
Well, I mean, the whole Tippett thing was more an investment. They weren't paying for how good he was, what he was going to be to them, and how good he could be.
Yeah.
But I don't think.
Then they got Buddy Franklin, and they're like, oh,
yeah,
he can play.
So I don't think he'll ever be as good as what they've paid for him, but you've got to do something with him.
Got to do something with him, exactly. And I think his contract runs out next week or something like that. In Gold Coast, what more can you say? They're sitting 18th, and they're playing a bit like that too.
Yep.
Yeah, I have it a good authority that they're going to trade Tippett North in return for Jared Waite. Just because Tippett wants to play with his brother, I'm pretty sure. And I'll tell you what, I reckon we'd even pay them like a lot, as in every dollar ever.
Like everything you don't have.
Yeah, because North are ones to be splashing money around.
Actually, I'd trade Jared Waite for Big Mac.
Upsized?
Yeah. Not even. No. I wouldn't even need special sauce.
Anyway, so the game petered out a little bit there. But you can't blame the Swans for getting bored with their own winning there. Moving on to Geelong versus Essendon. Yeah. And Geelong look like the Geelong of old. They have 8 goals to none in the first half? Something like that. Essendon did not kick a goal in the first half.
I think Essendon had the first score. They had a point, and that was kind of their first half highlight.
Well,
after that, it was, I think, 12 goals straight.
Well, I think it was Queen's birthday weekend. It was just homage to the English. Just fuck it, give up. Yeah, that's it. English way.
There was booing again, and I didn't even see Adam Goods out there.
No, I think that was the Queen.
It was booing the Queen as well.
yeah.
Well, that's fair enough. Both teams can enjoy that.
No, they were saying boo Earns, but he retired a bit.
Shit.
But the Cats just looked awesome. Stevie J, I think, he kicked 3 or 4 again. He's taken on a bit of a purple patch last couple of weeks after
After getting the jacket, wasn't it?
after getting the vest. Yep. So it looks like a good move.
Yeah.
Give somebody a vest, give them a kick up the arse, and away they go.
Too bad Richmond couldn't do that with Matty White. He gave him a vest and he fucked off.
You blame him?
Not at all. I would have fucked off too. That's the way you're supposed to give the vest, then tag it back off him. You don't say, here's the vest, champ. Nah, it's all yours.
Another one, Blitzarse. He's having a great year. I mentioned him just because, well, 2 reasons. He's one of those guys that snuck in and has paid overs. He's done better than you figured. And the second reason I mentioned him is because it's an awesome name, just like saying Blitzarse.
Fair enough. If you want to get your own hobbies into it, Blitzarse it is. It was interesting. I thought the match review panel did not have a look at Joel Selwood at all. He was just
Really?
It's fucking
looked
ugly,
like-
Oldham came in.
He just pulled over his driver's license. Thought, Selwood. All right, you're off.
Well, it did look like he was trying to put Ben Howlett's contact lenses back in for him, which is kind. And I heard somebody else say that it was an homage to Chris Judd with the old
Pressure points.
the old eye rake. So that was nice of him anyway. But look, I mean, Geelong were just awesome and just moving the ball so well. And Big Hawkins down forward was taking marks and making the previously well heralded Essendon backline look amateur.
And I tell you what, I heard he was talking about at the start when they had that run against whoever they almost beat. And he said that, I think there's still a really good team here, so watch this space. We'll be doing things this season.
Well, I'll tell you what,
I
they left
reckon
lots of space.
We'll be saying, nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see here. It's all good.
Yeah, Chapman didn't have much of an impact too, which has got a sting when you're playing your old team.
Yeah,
He's done it before, but
they started him in the vest. Why
Yeah.
would you put Chapman as a sub?
I found that weird too.
He's one of their key players, especially against his old side. He's going to know them better than anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have him in playing any side, wouldn't you? That'd be something really wrong to have him as a sub.
I understand giving him the red vest, but starting him in the green one is just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I think that Essendon, they got the whole WADA Asada thing going on. I think that might be, if it's not distracting the players, it's certainly good cover for how poorly they're travelling.
Yeah.
And old Fletch couldn't get up.
No, he did his hamstring against Richmond.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Like, do you see Fletch going on next season?
No,
I think
I don't think so.
put out to start or something.
He can't do 22 games a season anymore, which to me says I don't think they're going to challenge for a premiership. He's got his 400. I'd be inclined to leave it there.
Yeah, and they're talking about taking the sub out anyway, but he's not the sort of
hope so.
player that would play well in a sub vest. He's not a super sub you bring on late in the game for pace.
No.
He's, if anything, he's a bloke you take off. But look, I'd hate to be the one to call time on him, but I'd have to think that at the end of the year they're probably going to say, mate, here's your coach's position.
Yeah.
You can be backline coach forever.
I thought last year a few times he looked like a bit of a passenger, but this year he's shown he's still got some good footy left. I just don't know how much of that's left. You'd rather leave still wanted than stay when nobody wants you.
And it's also, what's your role there? Like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
You're not, I don't know if they're going to play finals, but you don't see them win a premiership there, and they're sort of rebuilding, and it's a bit all over.
Well, if you're looking at a premiership, then yeah, you probably have him, just because you want that old head in the back line in a grand final under pressure, that kind of thing. But Essendon aren't playing finals this year.
Yeah, and at the moment,
or next year.
You can argue that he's done his job as that senior backline member because they've got Cale Hooker and fucking top knot Hurley, who are both killing
I rate
it.
Hurley very highly.
Yeah,
He's a
they've
top
been
player.
killing it this year. So it's not like they now need more leadership down back. They've got it. And those two are in the prime of their careers or coming towards the prime of their careers even.
Yeah.
So he's not needed in that sense. Well, I don't think so anyway.
And the thing is, you can see they smashed him in the clearances, so they're just either getting beaten to the ball after the clearance or they're
Well,
just
it did
wasting
seem
it.
like
Geelong was so
many
clean.
kicks under pressure. Again, like we talked about with the Freo Richmond game, every time Essendon had the ball out of the middle, all of a sudden there's someone tackling, someone pressuring, and they're doing the pop-up kicks, and it's getting rebounded from half back.
Yep.
And we saw another couple of examples where Stevie J sucked Melcham in to give him a clip around the ears. which is just, you've got to be smarter than that. You
Yep.
know exactly what he's trying to do,
Yep.
but they've fallen into it.
And every team has that bloke. Every team has the one who tries to get a free kick by being the annoying fucking asshole that you just
Waiting
want to
for
smash.
the retaliation.
Yeah.
You've got to be smarter.
Absolutely. And look, your team has it, your team, every single team has one, if not more. I think everyone wants to belt Ballantyne, just because he's near it. In fact, Freo probably got Ballantyne and Crowley.
So the ones teams that don't have one, shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Gold Coast, can't think of one there. Campbell
No.
Brown's quit, so
Campbell Brown's gone, Anyway, look, Geelong look like what I thought they'd be like at the start of the year. On to the other Saturday night game, Port Adelaide versus the Bulldogs. Ignore the scoreline. This game was a lot closer than that. The poor old Bulldogs just ran out of puff at the end. And again, another example of excellent goal kicking. 16 goals, 4. That's
is
a good
spectacular.
night out.
Especially this time of the year when it's, cold, bit moist of an evening. You get the moisture in the air, the dew.
The dew on the footy.
Yeah, and they kick spectacularly.
They did.
And not to downplay the Bulldogs, but Port's delivering to the forward line, lace out perfect.
Yeah, they went well, especially towards the end when, 3/4 time the game was still in the balance, and then Power just ran away with it. Ollie Wines was killing it. I think he's 3 weeks back since his wrist or something like that.
He's finally started to hit the form he can do. And again, Robbie Gray had a decent effect, not as much as I thought he would. But having said that, he shot it with a cheeky goal, 20 disposals. And he's probably underperforming in what he did last year.
Yeah, I reckon so too. I mean, but the expectation for him's gone way up.
Very true.
So he's got to live up to that.
it was like when Bartel won the Brownlow. It was like, whoa,
Yeah.
Bartel, well, shit, we have to actually watch this guy as a serious key player now.
Exactly. The previously whipping boy, Jasper Pittard, who's had a pretty good year, turned in a bit of a shocker again, unfortunately, and I think he turned over the ball a few times. So the Port fans that love to hate him have just got more fuel.
A bit of ammo.
Bit of ammo that they'll hang on to.
I mean, this gives Port a bit of confidence as well. Just a good win against a team who were not ever going to be an easy beat team.
No.
They won consistently out there with the Saints as challenging the people at the top. So
They did well to grind it out.
Yep.
It was a hotly contested game, and the form that they showed in the last half last week, they continued it on.
I mean, with accurate kicking like that, if you can keep it up, then all you need is possession, and you'll get those goals. You'll get kick-winning scores.
But it also pressures the other forward line, because if you're scoring 16-4, like hardly anyone, no Port player kicked more points than goals.
Yeah.
That puts pressure on the opposition forward, saying, well, if they're so accurate, I bloody need to be.
Yeah, and also if they're getting plenty of it, you keep getting sucked out of your forward line. You don't get the ball in positions where you need it, where opposition are going to dominate you.
Yeah, you don't get the prime shots from the 30 out dead in front sort of thing. You're shooting 40 out from the pockets.
I think it was also last week or the week before we pointed out that the ruckman Matthew Lobby was their number one tackler for the game.
Yep.
So it's good to see this week. I think there's about 5 or 6 others that have got the same or more tackles than him, including Brad Ebert, who had a decent 12 tackles, which shows that they're switched on again now.
Yep.
And there's a lot more pressure around the ball. Because as good as it is to see your ruckman give those second and third efforts, you don't want him to be leading your tackle count.
Exactly, yeah.
I do think everyone except Port Adelaide supporters underrates Brad Ebert too. He's a bloody good hard player.
That booming boot on him.
He does. And I think the distance kick is massively underrated in the modern game because it's all about short possession. But just having that 60, 70 metre clearance out of the centre, geez, it gets the forward line moving quickly.
I wonder if you put like a squash ball in your boot like Adam Gilchrist would put in his gloves.
Glove.
Yeah, put it on like it down there and dong!
You've got to have no accuracy with it, but it's worth a shot.
Well, it's still more accurate than most players' Casbolt.
It's like Casbolt. Maybe that's what he's
We've
done.
got to lose, yeah.
Maybe he's put 2 on the side and it acts like a groove to keep the footy in. There we go. I'm saying that's the rumour.
Yep, spread it. So we've got that's the
what I
second
heard.
rumour this week, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's
right. Sydney on drugs.
A source close to the club told us.
Told us that.
Yeah.
Internet.
And by that, I mean he's probably a member.
I mean, literally the source.
Giants.
Drunk at the club on the sauce.
Speaking of the source,
Giants versus the Lions. Look, I don't think.
anyone gave a shit.
Yeah, that. And I don't think anybody thought the Lions would really get up seeing as the Giants are turning their home stadium into a bit of a fortress.
Yeah.
And playing good footy doing it.
Look, they kept it.
I mean, when you got a stadium in Western Sydney, it's got to be a fortress. 'Cause it's not tied down and gets stolen.
Might be gone.
Actually, Matty Lloyd had a good call earlier in the week, which is a fairly rare sort of thing to say. But he actually put Mumford as the number one ruckman.
Oh, of course he is.
Over Sandilands.
At the minute.
You'd have to say Sandilands has been getting a lot of hit-outs, but once the ball goes to ground, he's not quite as useful as anything.
Well, he could be a traffic director or something.
Yeah.
There's someone coming down from South Gympie Freeway.
He's still a massive unit to get around, but
He is, but-
so Shane Mumford.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Mumford's everywhere. He's putting tackles on. He's marking the ball in defence in the forward 50. He's doing everything.
Flogging records at the front and the way in.
Yeah, pretty much. He's everything but the footy record.
I mean, Sandilands was he had a great couple of weeks.
Yep.
But Mumford's had a great season.
Yep.
And I think he's the reigning best and fairest even at the Giants.
Yeah, I think.
No, actually, I'm certain he is.
Is it him?
Yeah.
He'll definitely be in the All-Australian squad. If he's not the number one ruckman, he'd be in the interchange.
Yeah, I think so too.
Brisbane not looking good either. I mean, they're just dropping like flies as well.
Yeah.
Clay Beam's out for season now.
Season as well. And I think they had another injury during the game. Look, it's going from.
So, Essendon Brisbane merger. You've heard it here first. Lepich is gone. We've got the Essendon Lions.
I think they're already just looking forward to the end of the year.
Wouldn't that be like a hyphenated last name getting married, though? Like the Brisbane Lions, a merger with Brisbane Bears and Fitzroy Lions. So you'd have to have something of both of those teams in the new team's name.
The Libers. Yeah.
The
Essendon the Brisbane Flying Lions?
the Flyers.
The Lions.
Fly in, fly out.
The fucking Lions.
It's better than. Have you seen the
Fucking Lions.
Have you seen the inflatable line that they run through?
No, they run through the flavor line.
Yeah.
When you say that, I just imagine like out the asshole and like in the asshole and out through the mouth. Like the gridiron helmets.
It's exactly what it is.
Yes!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They've named it Brion. They had a vote online.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Brion. Was what they
Brion.
call it. Yeah. As in,
BR for Brisbane.
and
Lion.
Ion for
Brion.
Lion.
Oh, dear fuck.
That's what I thought. It's as cheesy as it sounds.
That's Australian as fuck.
But North Melbourne have gone, yes, our helium balloon isn't the most stupidest entrance there is. Yeah, it's been a few weeks now. But, look, I think Brisbane are
I
just.
just love you got to walk through a Lion's asshole to get onto the Gabba wherever they're playing.
And that was the highlight of Brisbane's day.
So you got the Fortress, you got the Lion's Bow, or whatever the fuck, the shit stormed up in there at Brisbane.
Run out through the arse of a lion.
And things got
Into
worse
the
from
shit storm.
there. Out of the arsehole into the shit.
But look,
Let me winks.
Giants put their 7th win on the board, which is already a club record, and we're only at round 10.
Yep.
It just goes to show what a good bloody year they're having. The magnificent Cam McCarthy had another good one. He only kicked a couple of goals, but he looked untouchable at times.
Callum Ward, 32 touches, 12 tackles.
Just well spread
Great
around, I
return.
think, wasn't it? Just good
Yeah.
team effort. Everyone did their part.
And that's the dangerous thing. You look at GWS and you think, who do we have to stop? It's not one guy you can double team.
Yeah.
There's about 6 blokes you need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Look, Griffin still had a quiet game.
Yeah.
And they ran all over it. When Patton went down and they lost Boyd as well, you go,
Yep.
all right, well, our key forward stocks are looking shot.
Yeah.
But then, Cam McCarthy comes out and James Stewart's come from the clouds as well.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the Giants is that, I mean, apart from the players that they've traded in for the experience, they're not really established players. So the players that, like, even if you play, let's say, GWS at the start of the season, they're going to be a completely different team at the end of the season just because they're at the beginning of their careers and they're learning the game and they're sort of taking everyone on board. So you don't know how good that team's going to be on that day because you haven't seen everyone in there reach their potential and have an established team like the rest of the AFL people that are already there.
The other thing is, too, having an inexperienced young team coming into finals time, you are worried because they don't have that experience. But they are young lads that heal quickly. So getting up week to week after a long season, these blokes are going to be
5
coming
stubbies and a couple of pingers.
in. Probably that too.
No, we've already done Gold Coast.
Oh, shit.
But what I mean is they're going to be as fresh as they were round 2, 3 and 4 just because they're young bodies and they're, able to recover so much quicker.
On the Lions side, like we said, they're just waiting for the end of the season. But it looks like Dane Beams has finally settled in. He's had nearly 30 touches and kicked 3 goals. I mean, that's not a bad afternoon.
Looking like a bit of a genius, tipping Justin Leppich to get the sack too, just quietly.
Do you reckon?
It's not going to happen.
Do you reckon Brisbane Lions have already booked their Mad Monday?
Yep.
And do you reckon Leppich has got a ticket?
Yep. No, he's fine. I reckon they all love him. He's still in the honeymoon period.
I want to see Cuz get Juddy out for a Mad Monday now that he's retired. Come on, mate. I've been waiting for this day.
You reckon Juddy might really go to town with his pressure points? And
Yep.
really show him now that, after he's put in his day at work at Vizzy, of course. So.
What would you reckon be next for Juddy? I know we're skipping back a bit, but still.
I reckon nothing football. I don't think he'll coach or commentate. It's just not his. He seems like he'll go off and run a business. Or he'll go and run. He'll work for the AFL. I wouldn't be surprised.
Like Tom Harley.
No, more like Mike Fitzpatrick.
Huh.
I mean, at that level, he's more likely to join the board of the AFL than coach anywhere, in my mind. Or
if he coaches, it'll be fucking Warren Diet, under nines, whatever the fuck it is. Just doing something.
And he'll still pull in $100,000 a year
where his little club is that he grew up. He's a Melbourne boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he'll be somewhere around there.
Okay, down to the game in Tassie, which really showed that the full weather can still come into effect in AFL grounds.
Did you see that boomerang kick?
We're talking North versus West Coast, but I was half listening to this game on the radio when I was in Adelaide. But the boomerang kick, tell us about it.
I can't remember who kicked it. It was West Coast running into their forward line, running along the broadcast side wing. He's gone to kick probably midway between the goal square and the 50-metre arc, and about halfway along when it's travelling in the air, it just takes a right angle and ends up on top of the 50-metre arc. And you just see the ball just go up,
I'm
stop,
going this way.
slur to the right, and everyone's like, shit.
Hear
I
the
think it
crowd
was,
go, ooh, ah.
see Prittis running forward, and then he's like, hang on, I've got to run back here. Fuck. But, it was gusty, blowy, rained for a little bit. Really had Tasmania come out to play.
Old-fashioned weather for the footy that you don't get at the MCG or Etihad anymore, because the MCG is just too big and the Etihad's got the roof, obviously, when they do close it.
Yeah.
North got rid of their coach. He was an omission for this game.
After last week, he had to get his back worked on. I think he was the only one that had a backbone last week. But yeah, well, anyway, less said about that later. But this week, actually, pretty good match.
Yeah, it was a tightly contested. It looked like North had not done enough with the breeze in the third quarter to set up a match-winning lead. But there was just that last period in the final minutes of the third where they finally got their noses in front and didn't surrender the lead from there on in. Very cheeky from old Brent Harvey as well.
A veteran move, definitely. It's one of the smartest things to do in suckering the 50-metre penalty out of Prittis. One of the dumbest things to do right in front of the camera. But if you didn't watch it, then you probably haven't seen any of the clip shows from AFL. But Harvey and I think it was Dumont tackled Prittis right near the boundary line, got him holding the ball, beauty, and Prittis was sort of remonstrated with the umpire a little bit, holding the ball away from Harvey, and Harvey just reached around him and flicked the ball out of his hand, so it looked like Prittis had dumped the ball and not given it straight back to him, and got a 50, which turned out to be about 30 metres, but and then it kicked to Lindsay Thomas about 40 out.
Who fucked it?
He shanked it, but kick on goal, which Harvey said was a good return on investment for that. He called it rascally. I think the West Coast supporters had a few other words for it.
Well, advantages are taken, not handed out. So
That's it.
Well, yeah, and another thing Harvey did say in the post-match was that Lacroix claimed a goal that he'd plainly kicked after the line was crossed, and claimed a mark that plainly hit the ground. So in his mind, that's how he justifies it.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a point there, I guess. I mean, it is a bit of gamesmanship, but my point of it was the umpire called it when he obviously didn't see it. He saw that the ball's gone out and assumed what's happened, and he's given a 50 for something he clearly didn't see, and we know he didn't see it because it didn't fucking happen.
Well, I guess it's one of those reasonable doubts things. Like, you could say, well,
all the pieces were there.
Yeah, either he reached around and flicked it out, But that's probably unlikely because Boomer's a fairly honest lad and he's got tiny arms. Or Pritis
Like
just
a T-Rex.
I'll give you 1 out of 2 there.
Or Pritis is not the nicest bloke and has dropped the ball, which, in fairness, Pritis probably is one of the nicest blokes going around.
Again, 1 out of 2.
So, yeah, the umpire tossed a coin and called it edges.
And called it wrong. Which wasn't the only thing the umps did wrong with that day. Did you see the hip and shoulder old Razor Ray gave?
Actually,
it was Dumont.
There was nothing wrong with that. That was a perfect bump.
I'll tell you what, it was high. It was right on the chin.
That's the thing. Unfortunately, if that was a player doing it, he'd get weeks.
He probably would. You'd get 1 or 2 for that.
Yeah.
I think Ray's just sort of off-cycled his steroids. He's an angry motherfucker now. He's fuck
So
this shit.
there's our third rumour.
If ever there was an umpire to get done for peds,
Yeah.
it'd be Razor Ray.
Razor Ray last week. Don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do.
Either him or that one barrel-chested goal umpire. You know what
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I hope next week, I don't know who Ray's going to officiate, but I hope it's North Melbourne. And, there's a contentious decision or something, and Ray's has gone, nah, free kick, fuck yeah, fair enough, no worries, Ray, no worries.
I think he's officiating Velasquez versus Verdum.
It wasn't about. And I'll tell you what, Razor didn't flinch. Didn't turn around, didn't say sorry, straight on, mate. I've got a fucking job to
He
do.
goes, I know cunts will stab you.
I think Dumont's only about 13 years old too, so he had a good education.
That's the way it goes. Look on the other side, West Coast. Matty Pritis, is that another good one? He's had 30-odd possessions plus 11 tackles. I mean, that shows that you've had a busy day.
It shows that we know nothing about what we're talking about, too. I tipped him as the one for the biggest fall-off due to the Eagles falling away from him.
It's just too consistent.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Less said about that, the better. One thing I did see, Jared Waite went down late in the fourth, I think it was.
Got a cheer.
Yeah, he managed to get back on the field, but I tell you what, he would have wanted to get away early because there was one part, I think it was the first quarter, running in, one opponent, Lindsay Thomas, running open in the goal square, all on his own. I think Higgins was ahead of him, all on his own. And Waite's like, nah, fuckers, I got this shit.
I got this.
No, he did not. In fact, he fucked the kick, kicked into the man, and it ended up getting rebounded for a goal the other end. So, Waite did kick, I think he got 2, 3?
So Waite needs to get on drugs.
Wait, no, he didn't kick any goals.
He didn't even fucking kick any. Oh,
No,
Jesus.
goalless. Benny
Fucking
Brown
Christ.
kicked a nice 3, though.
That was right. Yeah, Brown signing up to a 5-year contract. Just get him locked in. He is
That's the way to
fucking
ruin his
champion.
career.
That's right. He's Tasmanian. With the exchange rate, that's like 30 years.
And poor old Cunnington, he had an all right day, which is hard after he just got finished milking the cows or whatever the fuck else.
Every ad, every 10 minutes.
You know.
I have to say hello to family on the way in.
Higgins got the credit for being the champion with 4 goals, and he had a pretty
Yeah,
good
good
match. Swallow got lazy 13 tackles, 20 possessions, but to me it was Zeeble that was the difference. When the game was on the line, this bloke damn near fucking kills himself every week, and I like Swallow the player, but Zeeble's the captain every day of the week. He's the bloke you want.
He's the one that leads by example. Well, I don't know who's more vocal behind the scenes, but his actions on the field speak louder than anything else.
The only more vocal bloke would be Brent Harvey, but technically he's yelling abuse at everyone else around him.
I guess that's a noise they just managed to cancel out in the background.
It must be. You must be just so immune to that. Oh, that
It's like starts to point at he's talking, so they go, "Oh shit, sorry, but what was that?"
But I've said that before, that Z will be the better captain. But you think who would be the best captains of the modern era? You'd have to throw names like Hurd, Hodge, Jonathan Brown. You could make an argument for Carey, I guess. But they're all very physical players. Players that don't take the short step. And Swallow, for his skill, he's just not one of those players.
Just trying to think who would be a good who you wouldn't say is a physical player who was captain and a good captain. And I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Judd was highly physical.
Cochin.
Yep.
You wouldn't say he was a physical player.
I wouldn't say he's a great captain either.
No,
but
He's a top player.
he does enough. He's good. Don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't, when you think of awesome captains, you wouldn't go Cochin.
yeah.
You know?
But would Dustin Martin be a better captain?
No, no deal.
He does have the physicality, I'll give him that, but I tell you what, the club would fucking have some great parties.
Well, as long as you put him in charge, end of season trips.
Finances would be fucking all over the shop. That's for sure.
You'd
We'd be funneling shit from left, right,
You'd have 4 sets of books.
and still bankrupt. Have 200 billion turnover, bankrupt.
Okay, we'll move on to St Kilda versus Hawthorn in a game that never really got to many heights. I guess you can say well done for the Saints for keeping Hawthorn quiet in the first half, but really their kicking was just shit. There was moments of brilliance that would make a highlight reel of the game look okay, but it was really just a scratchy game. It wasn't until sort of towards the end where Hawks started to kick straight and made it look decent, but I think the Saints were happy to get within 10 goals. Actually, no, they weren't within 10 goals, they were just outside it, but that's the way it goes.
No, the umpires robbed them. Look at it, 20 free kicks to 10.
Yeah, it was. It's one of the most lopsided. And I think it was 20-4 at one stage late in the game, or something like that. So a couple of junk time free kicks to go with their junk time goals.
No, I wasn't actually at this game, but had it on good authority by a bloke who watched it that it was all the umpires' fault. They murdered him. So thanks, Pete, for that report.
Ruffy was having an absolute shocker of a night, but coming in for 3 goals late in the game. Sammy Mitchell still showing that he knows what to do. What do you have, 30 odd?
Yeah, 35 or so.
35 touches. Yeah, not bad for an old timer. Probably, I think he plays his 300th game next year, so he's getting in there.
Yeah, I mean, he's still doing enough.
I always find it funny, Billy Hartung. That just sounds like a bloke that plays rugby. I don't know why I say that.
Or somebody from the 1943 side.
Yeah, a bloke who, or someone who you describe as a colourful racing identity.
Yeah, I can see it as a colourful racing identity. Geez, he's got some toe.
Yeah, he does.
It's only his second year running around, so he's slotted in quite nicely. It was good to see Showmakers kick a couple of goals as well.
I was about to say that.
Much maligned.
He's the whipping boy for Hawthorn. Every team's got their one bloke where you're just like, why the fuck do we keep putting him in? But he's come up pretty good.
He's done well.
Why do they keep putting him in? I don't know.
Injuries.
No choice.
He's a little bit of a swingman. I mean, he's a forward naturally, but they forced him to be a backman.
Yeah.
And now they've gone out and got Lake and they've got Frawley.
Yep. So he's just stuck in.
So he's back in the side, but he's doing probably just enough.
Yep.
He's kicked some goals the last couple of weeks. So.
Well, on that bit, I remember how the AFL has that Ask the Fan survey that went around last week.
Last week, yeah.
I did see Reddit added some questions to it.
Yeah.
And one of the questions they suggested to be added was, who's the biggest cunt in the league and why is it Brian Lake? So, yeah, that was not from a Sydney Swan supporter.
So at least 4chan didn't add some questions to it.
I think there might have been a couple of those.
Way off track there.
There was another good highlight for St Kilda was Nick Rewalt kicking a goal on 3 defenders over the shoulder. Not a bad effort, even if it was just from the goal square, but 3-on-1 in a team that's getting done, and he's booted it through.
It's hard not to like Rewalt. Like, he works his ass off every week.
Blood oath.
Occasionally gets his dick out for teammates' cameras, but he's a top player. Unfortunately, he's probably going to be a top player who retires without having known a premiership. But there's a few of those.
Which, again, is a shame, but it's a bit of a trait of St Kilda. They have those top players that never saw it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Robert Harvey's one that immediately you'd think of.
Yeah,
Poor bastard.
22 or so that have done it, haven't they?
20. Yeah, I think they've only had 22 players that have. No, would have been 20.
So you wouldn't consider him unlucky. You would just say he's just been a great Saint.
Done what the Saints done.
He's got a night premiership, which is more than, well...
It's worth the tattoo. It's worth the tattoo. You don't give him that much.
The Hawks didn't play well, and they still won by 10 goals, so I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but, I mean, the bye couldn't have come soon enough, I think.
How far do you think St Kilda are on their rebuilding?
Further than what they would have thought they were.
I would have said perfectly.
I think their midfield is going to be a pretty good class midfield next year, which, if you're rebuilding, the midfield's the first place you start.
Yep.
Their backline, to me, is still a little fragile.
They could do with some more height and some more strength down the back.
Yeah, they need someone like Revolt.
Every team.
Yeah, they need someone like Revolt they can put in the backline.
Oh, well, yeah. Everyone can do it with somebody like Revolt.
Oh, you'd have 6 of them in your side if you could.
But look, the way they've gone about it is get lots of draft picks all at once and get that bunch through.
Well, they're copying exactly what GWS did, and GWS have shown that it's working so far.
And I think they're going in the right direction. The players are still showing that they want to play. They're trying hard and they're not giving up.
Which is more than I could say for Brisbane, I think.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
It seems like they're very good at being able to not accept, but not put a whole lot of value on being outplayed for even, 3/4 of a game or whatever.
Yep.
And that gives them the ability to always be able to bounce back. They never get down on themselves.
Well, I think they're setting themselves realistic goals. Like they would have gone in this to going,
Yeah.
all right, we're probably outclassed across the board.
Yep.
But say to each player, you just beat your player, or at least make them earn every possession.
Yeah.
And a lot of their players seem to be doing that. Like they seem to be pressuring a bit better. They seem to be not dropping their heads when the game's done.
Yeah. And making the opposition be accountable as well.
Yeah, just that little bit more than you'd expect from a team who's getting pounded by 10 goals at 3/4 time. They still went out in the fourth quarter and had a dip.
Yeah, they got some goals in junk time to make it look a little bit better. But, I feel like Hawthorn did just enough they needed to do and not a step more.
Yeah, Hawthorn didn't quite phone it in, but they definitely cruised.
They could have.
I think the best thing was that Saints usually getting the Arsenal put in the first 2 quarters and then coming back and winning.
Yeah.
So I think it was really good strategy by Clarkson to just
lull them in.
take it easy in the first 2 quarters and
I don't think he was happy at all.
work into it.
It's
smart.
He's an angry man at the
Genius.
best of times.
Did he manage to get away this week without
Genius.
some sort of lawsuit?
Well, only time will tell. It could still come up. On to the Queen's Birthday traditional clash, otherwise known as the Melbourne Demons Grand Final. It was, again, a decent old game for a change.
It was a good match.
Watching the game, especially the first half, Melbourne's ability to run in a nice pack was fantastic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, their ability to handball to a bloke who was in the process of getting tackled was fucking frustrating to watch.
And Cloke, 7 goals straight.
4 in the first quarter or 5 in the first
Four
quarter?
in the first.
Stupid.
Yeah, so...
4 dead bang, and he earned those ones. Like, he had some great marks and just kicked truly. Just
look,
in full flight, he's fantastic.
He was playing on Tom McDonald, who's been on fire the last few weeks, and they had to move him off before quarter
Before
time.
he slit his own damn wrists.
He was absolutely giving him a bath. Just goes to show how good Cloke could be if he could kick straight all the time.
If he just get his head right. It's got nothing, I don't think it's anything to do with his skill or talent or getting out class. He's just got that little fucking gremlin in his head. Just the more you try and deal with it, the worse it gets.
But again, Nathan Jones stood up for Melbourne.
Done
Every week he does. He's just got a heart of a fucking lion, that bloke.
And what about Hogan in the forward line? Can't say enough good things about him.
I tell you what,
he had some moments, but overall he's been fantastic.
They've been talking him up for years before he even played a game.
Yep.
It was good to see this year that he's actually someone that can live up to the hype.
Yeah.
And he's going to grab the team and put him on his back and carry him through for years to come.
You can even see with his banter and his presence in the forward line. You see he'd take a strong mark and he'd let his opponent know about it. But not only that, he'd try and scam a few extra metres to straighten himself up. And not only to say, oh, it's around here, but arguing the points with the umpire. No, it's over there, mate.
That's the veteran move.
The umpire's smiling at him and he's, but obviously he goes back and has his kick. But that's the confidence you need for young players like that to not have to be intimidated and just take it on.
Look, I thought Lumumba showed a bit.
Actually, it was a bit sad that people were booing him, like damn racism.
Yeah, well, Collingwood supporters. But no, I thought he showed a lot of run out of the back lines, which is all right.
Actually, one of the surprising blokes for me too was Cam Patterson. Poor bastard's been on North Melbourne's list for I think 5 years and just couldn't crack it in the big time. Gone to Melbourne.
That was a good joke.
Couldn't crack it in the top 22, we'll say then. But he was a solid contributor for Melbourne.
Yeah.
He's a big body who moves quite well, but just he's pretty good at most things, but not brilliant at anything.
I think his first game back was a late call-up for Melbourne against Hawthorn when Melbourne got done by 100. But he was still all right in a team that got done by 100. So, I mean, he's shown something in multiple games now, which probably justifies his spot for another week at least.
I mean, he's solidly above average.
Yeah.
He's not top class, but he's a solid, hard-working 60% player.
Yeah. One of the things I was really impressed with was watching how Jamie Elliott uses his physical features to his advantage. Because he's not a tall player. He's small, he's stocky, but he uses that as an advantage because he's, in some ways that's a disadvantage. You'll see a mark comes up, he does enough to spoil it, But what he'll do is he'll twist his body in midair so that when he lands, he's ready to pounce and just run.
Yep.
It was I can't remember what the kicker was, but they showed in slow motion. And he's gone for the mark. It's spoiled. He's twisted his legs around so when he lands, he can just bolt forward. And I was thinking, with Dane Swan running around showing that kid how to play footy, he's got to be just have a dangerous future.
He's already the most popular bloke to get their number put on the back of the Guernsey for the Collingwood supporters. And I'll tell you what, there'll be plenty of blokes tattooing his number too.
It's a bit like Timmy O'Brien at Hawthorn.
Well, that's because they can't count up to it.
You never seen so many Hawthorn fans in the crowd with Timmy O'Brien's number on their back. But just because he inherited the number 23 Guernsey, it's a bit beside the point.
But that point about Elliott's very true. His skill in keeping his feet is second to none. And that earns him so many damn possessions. Because you see, I think there was at least 7 or 8 times where there was multiple Melbourne players going for the mark.
Yeah.
He'd get in that marking contest too.
Yeah.
Melbourne players fall on their ass.
Yeah.
He's on his feet. Ball's dribbled forward. Fucking beauty, I got one.
Well, he's already taken that into account when this ball's coming in and he's making his split decisions in do I spoil, do I mark, what do I do? That's part of his process of, all right, this goes to the ground, that's when I do what I want to do. It's like jiu-jitsu. It takes someone down and you bring it to where you're good.
Yeah. He's like a racing driver. He's not looking at the corner in front of him. He's looking at 3 corners after that and setting himself up there. When he's going for the mark, he's not just thinking, I've got to mark this. And that's it. He's
got a plan B.
Yeah, he's like, oh, ball goes to ground, I'm going to land, I'm going to go at it. Ball goes on my head, I'm going to twist, go after it.
Yep.
If they take the mark, I'm going to fucking make sure they've got it.
That's the one. I think it was, actually went to ground and he managed to pick it up, get it on to Swan, who snapped it through, I think. It was actually, I think Swan had a short little kick to Cloke. And Cloke got the goal. Brilliant piece of play.
Apparently, Collingwood got an ex-basketball player for them too that went all right.
I've never heard of him. With a basketball background, never heard of him.
But Pendlebury, his vision is fantastic.
It'll be his basketball background.
Probably, yeah. His ability to just pick a bloke out who's on his own, even though that bloke might be 30 metres, 45 degrees behind him. Maybe.
There was a period of Jeffy Garlett who kicked 2 goals in a minute, and both of them when he snuck out the back and they kicked it over.
Yep.
Some beautiful long kicks to him, which is great because, I mean, that's his job, that's what he does.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it was both times, Alan Tuvey chased him right to the end.
Yes.
And I don't think Jeffy Garlett was getting away from him, but Tuvey wasn't catching up either.
Yeah.
But he still chased him down. And, the one time that Garlett stopped and propped and went around and still kicked the goal.
Yep.
So he gets no reward for that, but it shows that the type of player that he is.
I think the first time he was just chasing him and he's like, I'm on camera, I can't fucking look bad now, I can't give up. And the second time he's like, you motherfucker, I'm fucking going to get you.
Third time was racism.
As long as he wasn't booing him as he was trying to chase him down.
Or throwing spears.
Imaginary ones. That takes us through to round 10, unless you got more about that game.
No, I was thinking of spears. I could have used a few when I was camping on the weekend.
So that brings us on to round 11, which is the first round where we've started with the buys. So let's start with a great Friday night game now. Port versus Geelong. What a cracker.
Especially over there in Adelaide.
Yep.
Because Port haven't been that great at I'm not going to say it, at the Adelaide Oval. Last year they turned it into a really hard place to win at, and this year hasn't been so much.
But they've finally hit some form, Port, which is unfortunate because so have Geelong.
Yeah.
And they're in the best form of their year so far. I think the Geelong Tall are going to make it very difficult for Port, but if Port's midfield can get on top, that'll do them to get through.
I think Geelong's physicality, if they can intimidate Port in the opening quarter, they're going to run away with it.
I think so too. This might be decided in the opening quarter.
And that's it. They've got to be tough. They've got to make sure they've got to earn every possession they get and just make everything a hassle for them. As soon as they get spaced, then they're so dangerous.
If it's wet, I don't think Port have got a chance.
Really? You reckon in the wet they'll struggle?
Port's ability to move the ball quickly is fantastic. When they run in packs, they're a very fast team. But if it gets dewy, it gets wet, the skills go down, and it becomes a much closer thing. They can't run away from opposition as easily. And I think Geelong's ability to just pressure the ball carrier is going to be so much more effective. Their only, well, I won't say their only chance, their best chance will be if it's a nice, crisp, dry evening and they can actually use their speed to their most advantage.
I think Geelong too. I think Geelong could actually get up with the form they're in. Both these sides have been impeccable in front of goal last week, so I think Geelong the week before were kicked, sort of 18, 19 straight from set shots.
Yeah.
So they're making the most of their limited chances. That might be, if they can do that again, they're hard to beat.
Yeah, I think I have to go Geelong, but you wouldn't be surprised if Port would do it, quite comfortably.
Tipping against Port at
they
home.
absolutely will now. We've all tipped Geelong.
Yeah, Port will absolutely
Port
romp
romp it in.
Yep.
I tell you what, I don't think we're going to have any dissenters on the next game. Gold Coast versus Freo.
This will be a fantastic match, and I can tell you why. Gold Coast being a new side, they're going to go into this in their home match and get fucking smashed. So if any supporters turn up, they're your hard time supporters that you fucking need.
I think that's how you identify true fans.
If they get 5,000 people there, every bloke that turns up, every man, woman, and child should get a membership. I don't
get
care
an
if they
apology.
get fucking free. Give them 10-year fucking membership because those people are hard time supporters.
Yeah. Look, I'm worried that Gold Coast won't kick a goal.
Yeah.
I don't think
They might not rock up. Might go, fuck it, let's go out.
It could be one of those ones where Freo just kick a point for them just to make sure they get percentage.
because they can't do maths. I've been in a game where that's happened before.
Yeah, I've seen it happen too.
Look, Freo by 100 and how many? I'm really worried that Gold Coast won't kick a goal.
Yeah.
On to West Coast hosting Essendon on Saturday afternoon. West Coast have got to bounce back at home, and Essendon are looking in trouble if they lose this one.
West Coast will smash them. They're just too classy.
They've
The weather hurt their game plan last weekend. The blustery breeze, all that sort of stuff, stopped their long kicking game. That's not going to happen again.
No, not over there. And if this is another loss for Essendon, that could really put them on the behind the 8 ball for the rest of the year to try and make finals. So I think, what are they sitting 13th or something like that at the minute?
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle to hold their shit together, to be honest. I think this is just the snowball of things have just got to play out before they can really know where all the pieces lie and put all the fucking mess back together. Because it's all over the shop. You don't know what's what. Your arsehole from a hole in the ground.
It's funny though, because no one said in the last couple of weeks that Hurd's job's under pressure because they've stuck with him through all this other crap.
Well, he's done nothing except be ignorant, but that's no excuse. You know what I mean?
But at the end of the day, all of that aside, you're there to do a job, and that's to coach a team and to play finals and win.
Yep.
And at the moment, it looks like they've gone backwards this year after getting more senior talent in. Okay, you had to get senior talent because you lost your draft picks, but you've still gone backwards.
Yep. Yeah, because the consequences from not having those draft picks and that isn't felt this year. That's going to be felt, next year, year after. That's when you suffer those consequences.
Yeah,
I do think getting Chapman and Cooney was a good move, though. It's just for the same reasons why Richmond getting Cousins was a good move. Cost them fuck all, and you get to train up young lads by champion players.
Yeah, well, you take those players in most teams, I reckon.
Yeah, well, Chapman's been good, but I mean, Cooney's only been this year, and that's a spot that could have gone to another young player. I agree with Chapman and Goddard especially. I mean, Goddard's been a champion for
fantastic.
I'm not convinced on Cooney just yet, but hopefully he's got a few years left to make it worthwhile.
I don't think he'd have more than 2.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. North Melbourne versus Sydney at Etihad Stadium. Be interesting game.
Yeah.
North are on the up after overcoming West Coast, but this will be a real test for them because Sydney haven't looked like they've got out of third gear for a lot of their games so far.
And they're on drugs too. You know that?
Yeah, I heard that rumour.
Well,
it's tough.
The thing I worry about is that North have got a reasonably cruisy run into the finals. I think in the last 6-7 rounds we've got Brisbane, Melbourne. Who else we got? Oh, yeah, run through it.
No. I'm just saying you've got a cruisy run into the finals. Where are they sitting on the ladder at the minute?
No, but
just show me. Don't show me the whole ladder. Just the top 8 will do.
I think where the fuck is it?
No, not there. Okay,
no.
okay.
But we're 5-5,
Going straight to game plan.
and as long as you have a positive season, like you finish with say 12 wins, you'll probably play finals.
Almost.
Fucking oath if you win the last 12. That's a pretty good string of wins to put together.
with a total of 12 wins.
Shit.
12 wins is borderline.
I thought you would put 12 wins on the trot to finish out the season.
12 wins plus percentage will get you will get you 8th.
Yeah,
So that's what they'll need.
Yeah.
but that's the fucking concerning thing. Is
Richmond got good percentage. That's the concerning thing.
No, but North might look at it and say, "Oh, we can afford to drop this one," but they fucking can't.
No, of course they can't.
they have to be able to beat Sydney, Hawthorn, Freo to even bother turning up in September.
And then got Tigers to worry about. So
Tigers, what are they going to do? Look, something interesting about it it'll be a win, I think, if we hear that Adam Good still gets booed, because that just means that enough fans have rocked up to be able to hear it through the TV mics.
And the thing is, I hope more fans rock up to boo Adam, not because they don't like him, but because this is the good thing that can come out of having people that we perceive as villains on the field.
Yep.
But don't pretend they actually know who they are or you have any fucking idea of what they are as a person. That's their persona on the field. Boom. But rock up, pay your money, support your club.
No, it's Etihad Stadium. They'll pipe it in.
Yeah, exactly. They'll put it through the speakers. Look, I think Sydney will just have too much class.
I'll tell you what, though, this next match, Collingwood GWS, to me, that's match the round.
Isn't
it's going to be fantastic.
MCG. Now, this is, fifth versus fourth, I think. So, two teams that I didn't pick that they'd be anywhere near those numbers at this stage of the season, but they are. And they're there because they've been winning.
And they've been doing it the hard way too, just, out-muscling teams and just hard work.
Look, this is a real good test at the right time for GWS.
I think for both sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
GWS playing the biggest club at the MCG. They'll have all eyes on them as well, being that it is the split round. So, look, I'm looking forward to see how Cameron and McCarthy go. And it could be that if Cloke kicks straight again, it could be too much for him.
You see, I'm going GWS just because I have not seen a hungrier side in recent memory. Every time they go out there, they just look like they are playing their grand final. And I think they'll overwhelm Collingwood with just sheer intensity.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. If Cloke kicks straight, I reckon Collingwood beats most teams because their midfield is awesome and they can deliver it to anyone in there. It's just a matter of they kick goals.
I tell you what, it's lucky you're not sure because every time we are fucking sure, we're wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm sure about this one. I reckon GWS will get up because Cloke won't have a good day at all. I think it's MCG with the yips.
Yep. You reckon he's had his one good kicking? He can't do two in a row.
No, I think it might. Was it the MCG last week?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, there goes that theory. Then, yes, I agree with you. Yep. I'm on your side.
You're on my side.
I'm on your team.
I don't know what my side is yet.
I'm on it.
Abdicate.
I like the way you think.
I didn't know if you were saying abdicate because he's giving me my choice, or it's like that episode of 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown with Peter Serafinowicz. But anyway, I think I'm the only person that's ever seen that show.
I know it, but it's pretty specific.
It's an obscure...
Niche humour.
Especially when there's like 40 seasons or something of it.
As references go, that's a pretty obscure one. The final game, St Kilda versus Melbourne. Look, I think this will be a good test to see how far Melbourne has really come.
I think this will be a good, maybe... it'll be a good contest.
Yes, that's the way of putting it. I mean, two teams that won't play any part in September, but...
Might not be the prettiest game, but...
It might be a well-matched mid-card fight.
Be worth watching, yeah.
One interesting thing, though, with Brisbane's match, is anyone going to turn up Monday? Like, you got to buy. You think they might just fuck off to Bali for a week?
Yeah. I'm lost.
I'm lost too. But what are you on about?
Well, Brisbane being on a bye.
Oh, okay. Brisbane's bye.
Yep. Well, it's probably going to be the highlight of their season. So you may as well make it worth it and just fuck off to Bali for a week and get drunk.
Yep.
Come back, hopefully not get caught with dope in your boogie board or some shit.
Yeah.
It's about the highlight of their season at the moment.
They might have a bit of a mid-season break, yeah. But St Kilda, Melbourne, you got to pick? Melbourne, yeah. I'm hoping that Melbourne can show that they've matured enough to be able to put sides, around them away. If they play to their full potential, they could.
I'm only tipping Melbourne because of Nathan Jones. I think he'll just run straight through the St Kilda midfield.
Yeah, I'm tipping St Kilda. I think Bruce will have a day out.
Bruce will have a day out. Yeah, good one. Now, so the 6 teams this week that got the bye in Adelaide, Bulldogs, Carlton, Richmond, Lions, and Hawthorn. So what we're going to do later on this week is we're going to have a look at how those 6 teams are travelling and give them their mid-year report card. And we'll do that for all the teams.
Calling their parents in.
Yeah, I'll give you the hot tip.
Sitting down with them.
If you're a Brisbane or Carlton fan, prepare to get a fucking hammering.
The only way is up.
If you're a Brisbane Carl fan, you ain't listening to footy news, to be honest.
You
don't
fucked
give
off
a
the
fuck
barley
about
too.
shit.
You're probably watching the Women's World Cup soccer. Who knows? All right, so see you later on in the week for the mid-season reports on the teams having the bye.
Yep.
All right, later.
Bye.